Okay, this is a quick update video on the VKB MCG-Pro that you can see here. Alright, and then obviously that is the Virpil Mongoose T50. So I've had the stick for a month. Taken a while, didn't make this video to start with. I actually had a problem with one of my gunfighter bases. Luckily I have two, so I was still able to run it and test it, and I've been using it for a while. VKB were excellent. Looks like my x-axis actually somehow the sensor piece on the x-axis got broken. You know, now obviously I did take that thing apart a lot, put it back together a lot. So anyway, VKB sent me the new PCB. It was really cool. It's a tiny piece, and I fixed it very easily. Just swapped it out, and it's working fine. It's actually the other base that's over there. So anyway, back to the pen in hand. Yeah, so it's interesting because obviously how a company deals with people when they have problems is always easy when there's nothing going wrong. Is quite good. So it's good to know that VKB were very good. As you can see, I've sold my house, so I'm in a rental right now. But anyway, so here's the MCG-Pro. So what do I think? Right, there are some things I really like about it, and there's one thing I kind of hate about it. But it's not going to stop me buying another one to take on the road with me. So what do I like? This brake lever is metal. This one on the Virpil is plastic. Problem is that when you're trying to brake, if you have to abort or something, or you're really trying to stop, you tend to squeeze it kind of hard, and the Virpil one bends, which is not so good. This is the Pro version, so it has loads of buttons on it. Yeah. And so let's get to what I don't like. What do I not like? I don't like this being my trim. Alright, I'm afraid. Now, why? Because when you have a trim like the Virpil one, which is just a click, alright, that's more like it is in a real aircraft. And unfortunately, or fortunately, of course, I've been lucky enough, I've got a lot of time in jets and military jets and planes, and so I've never trimmed with anything that moved like this analog stick does. Now, it might not bother you at all. It probably won't bother, you know, most people out there. But because I've got so many years and I'm older now, and you know, and I'm just too used to flying with a trim that is just a push button and it's very positive, and you just push it just a little bit and that starts the trimming process. You know, I just can't get used to it. I'm probably going to end up swapping the upper and the lower and using the lower one as my trim button. You know, everything else on it is good. You know, I haven't got a problem with anything. Or, you know, the four-way and the push, very nice. This one that's like your CMS on the Warthog also works great. I mean, everything. This analog here, you know what, I haven't used it much as an analog yet, I must admit. Because I actually use the nub on the Warthog throttle most of the time, so it hasn't really come into play a lot, and because it's got this the CMS equivalent down here, it's not really been a factor. So yeah, I like the stick top, you know, and apart from that trim, which is a bit, I don't know, I understand why VKB did it, and I understand that when you push it in, you can use it as if you're setting a trim wheel on a plane. But you know what, I've flown a lot of planes, and yeah, in a 777, yeah, you put some units in when you have to use the rudder trim, you know, on the wheel. But other than that, aileron trim is almost, you know, non-existent in 90% of planes, unless they're really bent, which most aren't. You know, so, you know, that I just think they tried maybe a little bit too hard. But as I say, for most people out there, it's probably not a factor because they probably don't care. But my muscle memory is such that I'm more used to something that clicks like this lower one for my trim. It just feels weird when I go to trim and it doesn't positively go click every time I go to trim. So that's just me. Overall quality of sticks great. They're both good sticks, as I've said before. I've been using them for 6 months. I've been using the base of both of them for at least 6 months. So on my Virpil one, and this is the mechanics really, you can feel as you go through the center, and I think it's actually literally the mechanic, the way the stick works in the base. Not a problem whatsoever, but I can feel it. And you know what? You can actually feel the similar sort of thing almost in the VKB as well. Now, so having told you that I hate the trim on that, why am I buying another one? Because the gunfighter base is tiny, and I spend a lot of time in hotels all over the place, and I carry my VR set with me, and I use it all over the world, playing with my buddies on the 16 AGR. So that is tiny. This base is tiny compared to the Virpil one, so I have a second one so that I can take it away with me. I'm getting another small plate, or else I'm going to get one made up when I pull this one off here, and I'm going to start carrying it. So all I'm waiting for now is to be able to get a second MCG-Pro from VKB. Unfortunately, they're not available right now unless you want the non-pro version, and I don't want to end up flying with 2 separate numbers of buttons in different places. So I'm just going to wait for the Pro to come out again and be available. So in summary, good stick. Obviously, that one caveat, and that's probably a very personal caveat for me. Both of them are very good, and I don't think you go wrong with either of them. Anyhow, that was just my quick update. I hope you found it useful.